Just had a look at that. Just turned the camera on, the computer goes off. Let's just silence that. Just finished a rather large batch of knives and put some photographs up on Instagram. I finished photographing the knives. I'll put them up on this channel in a minute so you'll get a chance to look at them. But it seems that whenever I put up any posts on Instagram or any social media now for that matter, I'm getting a few negative comments, for want of a better term. Well, they're slightly negative. You can tell by the gist of it that there are a few irate individuals out there that are frustrated, and I understand this. They're frustrated at the fact that they cannot get hold of one of my knives. The fact is, I need to try and put people in the picture as to the amount of demand for my work, and I gather it's probably the same for a lot of other small makers. There is a huge demand, and working on my own as I work, if I want to have a good balance to my life, good work and rest balance to my life, I'm personally only able to produce about 2 to 2.5 completed finished knives a week. The reasons why my output is low is because I have a problem with I've got a visual problem. I've had a few. I don't need to really go into details about this, but many of you out there know about my physical history, and it does limit the amount of time I'm able to work consistently and produce good work. So I got to limit myself with that. And personally, for me, if I were to produce any more than 2 or 3 knives a week, it would mean being in the workshop for so long, and it would become no longer a pleasure, and I don't want it to do that. You know, I've got a life of my own to live as well as building the knives, and I want to remain building the knives, and I want to remain enjoying that process. And if I were to do more, it would mean extra hours, commitment, and I might only be able to produce an extra 1 or 2 knives anyway. Yes, it would make a big difference financially to me, but as I say, I've got other things in my life to do. The fact is that many people think they can just get hold of a knife like that, and it's not as easy as that. This last week alone, my website received 1,177 unique views. That's potentially 1,177 people, potential buyers, chasing those 2 to 3 knives a week that I managed to build. So ultimately the answer is, it's a hard one to say, but not everybody is going to get one. I've only got a pair of hands. I can only just do so much. I was hoping to have on my website a shopping cart facility, so that when any knives become available, I could just say via Instagram or other social medias, whatever, putting some knives up on the website now, and the sale would be done automatically, and it would take the pressure off me, and it would be sort of more transparent. But the chap I'm friendly with, the computer whiz, he wasn't able to get over, set my website up. We've had all this COVID shutdown and what have you, and then he's had an unfortunate death in his family, and wasn't able to upgrade my website to allow that to happen. But it still doesn't address the problem that there's only 2.5 to 3 knives a week being built. So I'm unable to fulfill all the demand for my knives, unfortunately, and I can't see a way around that. So the way that I've been selling my knives is that when I've had a few knives available, I put them on the website. I've posted my email address. I've been inundated sometimes with 30 or 40 emails chasing those few knives that I've added to the website. So what I do, I take the first couple of emails, the first people that got in, sell the knives to those people, and then those emails that I took, I then say to them, if you know they've got my email, I say to them, if you want to contact me in a week or two, I might have a knife finished and you can have that one, etc. And so I work my way through this laborious process of trying to fulfill those customers. But that's the way that I've been muddling through selling my knives. And I'm sorry if it offends some individuals out there, that when I upload some images or some photographs of my processes or my finished products or whatever it is I'm doing in the workshop, then I really don't think there's any need for anyone to get irate and leave a comment saying, you know, negative things about how they can't get a knife, etc., etc. It's just unfortunately a fact of the logistics of being a small cottage industry creator stroke knife maker, building the knives in a laborious hand-built fashion. But I still think it's good to upload my photographs and my videos to YouTube and to Instagram, etc., because people can see the standard of work that I'm producing, and throughout the years that standard has been gradually improving. You know, as the more knives I've built, the more experience I've gained, the more knowledge I've gained, the better things are. And I think that's an important thing to do, because it puts out into the world, it lets other knife makers see what you're doing. And I think as a result of knife makers sharing experiences, sharing this information, it has ultimately improved the build quality of hand-built knives over the years. You know, I look back to some of my early work, and by comparison to what I'm producing now, it's quite shameful. But it was the best I could do at the time. And it's the same for other knife makers, especially other knife makers on YouTube that I've been following over the years. And I've been following other knife makers since there's been a few new ones which have come on and a few that have dropped off. But those knife makers that have kept up with the hobby or with the occupation of building knives, their work similarly has improved. You know, you look back, I'm not going to mention any names, but it's virtually everybody that's been in the YouTube scene or on Instagram. They've all improved, and the reason is because of competition. Because so-and-so's got a better finish on his knives, I've got to get a better finish. And you know, it pushes other knife makers up the ladder, and the end result is that the final purchaser, that might be you, will actually have a better built knife as a result. So that's one of the reasons why I put up videos, even if most of you aren't ever going to be able to get one of my knives. I don't ever envisage being able to increase my output much more than I already am. I'm currently producing about 2.5, possibly 3 knife builds a week. Over the course of a year, that's about 150 knives. I'm 58 years old next week, so I'm probably going to be knife making for another 10 years, depending on my eyesight. If my eyesight deteriorates, then I may have to curtail activities sooner. So 10 years, that's 1,500 knives. I'm going to build 1,500 knives or thereabouts over the next 10 years, and I'm getting 1,177 unique hits on my website every 7 days. I think I need at least 50 employees to be able to fulfill demand, and probably some CNC machinery and etc, etc. But then it wouldn't be a hand-built knife. It wouldn't have been built with the craft and the passion that I put into it. So I think it's always going to be a rare type of thing. Sorry about that, but that's just the way it is. I can show you one of the knives I finished recently. I love this one. This is, let's just make sure that the camera's going to focus it. Look at that. Look. That's lovely ironwood. My friend Amanti in America sent me some big box of desert ironwood. He was so kind to me, and I had some nice pieces in there. I didn't think this piece was going to be as special as it is. You don't really know what you're going to get until you actually physically sort of, you know, shape and sand the wood and get it finished. But this one's been fitted with the horse pins, and I had a few questions about the horse pins. They were also sent to me by a customer called Mark. Mark, I've used all the pins up, but I've just kept one pin back. I've got no more. I've got no more of these, apart from one set of pins, and I'm reserving those for Mark. So if you're watching, Mark, I haven't forgotten. I've also got you a piece of desert ironwood that you sent, and that's going to be going on the hunter-gatherer knife when I manage to finally get the stainless sorted. So don't worry about that. But anyway, you'll also notice, if I reach up and show you another knife, side by side, there. The knife above has what's called the classic Coke bottle Woodlaw style handle. So let's have a look. There you go. Look. So there's the classic sort of Coke bottle Woodlaw style handle. This is exactly the same dimensions to a Woodlaw knife, and it fits the average hand or even slightly larger hand absolutely beautifully. I think Ray Mears and Alan Wood were the main primary movers in designing the size and shape of this handle, and I think they got it pretty bang on actually for the average to slightly larger hand or smaller hand. But someone who's got a very large hand, that drop point at the back of by the pommel there, on the chest lever, it can dig in like that and make things a little bit uncomfortable. So I did work at producing a larger knife, which I called the classic extra large, which was dimensionally bigger in all sort of like dimensions, but I also felt that I needed to produce a knife with a blade similar to that. This is just slightly dimensionally larger, but with a handle which would allow for more comfortable chest lever operation. So I came up with that handle shape. It's slightly longer and it's rounded off more there, so that anyone that has got very, very large hands, and they do exist, those individuals do, I think they're related to Goliath or something like that, but that is still comfortable for someone that's got a very, very large hand. And that's no doubt someone else has produced a knife similar to that. There's nothing new under the sun, as they say, but that was just something that I come up with myself. But I'm sure there are other knives with similar handles. So that's that one. And other knife builds that I've done just recently. Well, you've seen the Indian redwood stabilised. It's a beautiful wood, very, very hard, very inert. This knife's fitted with Corby bolts, so you get the mechanical bond as well as the strong epoxy bond. Just reaching up. This is another beautiful knife. This one is fitted with curly oak. I got to look over at the screen to make sure if it's focusing or not. I think it is. Just look at that. That's just lovely. Beautiful tapered tang. Now I just have to go over to the table to get some more knives back. So this one I built for my friend Imanti. I mentioned him just a while back. He's the guy that sent me that lovely lovely box of about 30 or 40 pieces of desert ironwood. And quite rightly he's asked me, can I build him a few knives? And he pays full price for them as well. So of course I'm going to build him a knife every now and again if he wants one. He's got several now, and he asked, can you do one with brass? I've done one with brass liners before, so there's another one with brass liners for him. The combination of the brass and the steel. I think it's focusing. And again, that lovely desert ironwood. So that's one that I've completed for Imanti. What other ones have I got to show you? A camp knife. I had a camp knife for sale on the website some months ago, and it sold, and whilst the email was up, Chris emailed me hoping to get in with a chance of the camp knife, and I said I'm very sorry it's sold, but I'll when I get another one built up I'll let you know. And so I've just finished another camp knife. So that one's going to Chris. If he wants it, I've sent him an email. This has got a tapered tang as well. This is the biggest knife I do. It's a lot of knife. That one. Again, another knife that I've just sold. This is going to Julian. Again, Julian was another person that got an email in. I'd sold the knife, unfortunately he wasn't in time, but I said I'll have one ready in a few weeks, and that's the one. Stabilised maple scales with quad mosaic pins. Tapered tang black G10 liners. So that one's going to Julian. All in all, this batch of knives, I've built 8 knives. It's taken me 3 weeks. This knife has got wild olive wood. wild olive wood. So the beauty of the wood stabilised. I stabilised it, and it's because it's quite a resinous wood, I had to get it really, really dry. And it did stabilise. It seemed to stabilise quite well. Incidentally, this one's in a left-hand sheath because the person is a left-hander. There's a left-handed sheath. I did a couple of these Indian redwood knives. The redwood was sent to me many years ago. So a matching pair, if you like, of redwood knives. I believe it's Indian redwood. Now when I talk about India, I learned something about my history, because it turns out my brother Robert, he took a DNA test recently, and we wanted to find out a bit more about our ancestry, because my dad, poor dad, he passed away in 1988. Got a picture of him with my son. That's my dad. That's my dad. He was a lovely man. Absolute lovely man. But anyway, Dad passed away in 1988, and he was from Scotland, and we never knew anything about his father. I knew my grandmother, and she died in 1981. I think 1981 she passed away. And I'd have been 19 at the time. But we never knew about my grandfather, and my dad never said anything about it. And then when Dad died, we went up to see some family members up in Scotland, in Aberdeen, and then we asked a few questions, and they didn't really want to answer the questions, and they were all quite elderly at the time, and we were sort of warned, you mustn't say anything. So we dug a bit deeper, and we went to the registry of births and deaths in Aberdeen and found our dad's birth certificate, and on there it said it said father unknown. So my lovely dad was illegitimate, and I suppose for people of Dad's generation that was probably a taboo. He didn't like that. He didn't like that thought, but it didn't mean nothing to me. He's my dad, and that's all that matters, and he was the best dad in the world. So my brother Robert wanted to find out a bit more about our ancestry, and the only way he could really find out any more was to do this DNA test. And so he sent the DNA test off, and it came back, and we got the results. It turns out that we're 51% Scottish, which is to be expected. With 30-something% English, Northern European English. We're 15% Jewish. We're a very small percent Welsh, 1% Swedish, and also, would you believe it, 1% Northern India, from Northern India, 1%. So I've got an ancestor who was an Indian. I I don't know when that comes into the equation, but that's what the DNA samples said. Anyway, I wonder, well, we're all a mix, aren't we? Everybody's a mix, I think. So that's it. That brings this video to an end. Sorry I can't build everybody a knife. I intend building these knives for as long as I can, on my terms, doing it my way. And if I can enhance the selling process on the internet through my website, then I will, but it hasn't been possible up to now. So thanks for the thumbs up, thanks for the thumbs down, it all counts. See you in the next one.